We're back.
And I got my
I
mug
like that.
too.
I like that mug. You got
That's
to
my
get
mug
me
right
one of
there.
those.
Well, brother.
All right, I like
see,
that.
See how
I'll
many
get you a
views.
mug.
See how many views come into this interview here. Maybe we'll get you a mug.
All right.
Just before we go to what you've been up to, question I did have. I was thinking about this today. I find you as a player very hard to peg in terms of. And typically, you can listen to somebody and go, okay, he was influenced by this guy, and this guy. I've always found you're playing a little. I'm looking for the right. Just hard to peg in terms of who your influences were. Why don't you just talk about that quickly?
Yeah, I just, as you're a drummer, like to analyze yourself is probably the hardest thing you could ever do. You know what I mean? Like I have a hard time analyzing myself, like listening to my playing. Like I try not to listen to my own band, actually, to tell you the truth. Like, when I do hear it on the radio or something, like, who is that? I never pick up on it first. Then I go, oh, that's us. And then I listen to it and I go, oh, bizarre. It's just always so bizarre to hear yourself play. But it's a great question, Sean, because my influences are whacked. They're like not in a row. They're not ducks in a row. They're all over the map, my influences. So one of my favorite drummers, my top five, it's so hard to have a top five. It's so hard. A top 10, maybe. Yeah. I love Alex Van Halen. I can't put him in my top five though, even though I'm quite influenced by his playing. Who wasn't? But my top five, I'll tell you right now, is Ian Pace from Deep Purple.
Yep.
Terry Bozzio from Frank Zappa and whatever else, right?
Yep.
Bonham.
Yep.
Pert and Cozy Powell.
Which is a great segue into what you've been doing. Because I was talking to somebody about Cozy Powell the other day, and obviously, he in so many different bands, but he had one of the heaviest feet.
Yeah.
Like his right foot, that slided in out. Some of that. Oh my God! Right, great segue.
Yeah.
But it was just monstrous. I mean, it was just like he was jumping off the drum stool when he was hitting that kick drum. It was just such a great sound.
Right. I mean, there's certain songs that I play that you can now that you could think back on it. It's just because, okay, the song "Keep the Spirit Alive."
Yeah.
Yep.
It's just a straight pounding drum groove in that song. It's such a melodic song though. You wouldn't zero in that's really influenced by Cozy Powell. The drum track in that track, if you listen back to that, it's very similar to Slide It In, Whitesnake. It's just it's just so hard forward to the floor the whole song. And that's something that I learned from Cozy Powell, that it's okay to play solid four to the floor, only a few fills, just lay it down. Some songs just need no showboating, no drumming, look at me play type drumming. It just needs the groove for the guitar player and the singer to sing over and do a great job at it.
That's really cool to say
That's what Cozy Powell taught me, man.
Well, I always hate going out and seeing a band and the drummer's doing, purposely doing a whatever fill every 4 bars. I mean, I joke around. I've got 7 fills and I just do different ways repeatedly. But it's just like, okay, here comes the fill. You know what's coming, and it's just cheesy.
It's just living and learning, man. As an amateur drummer versus when you just become pro, and it's just a sequence of learning. And picking up on this stuff and listening to the masters and realizing why they did what they did and whatnot. And we all started down in the basement. Let's not forget that. Nobody starts in the greatness of Neil Peart. We all started, including Neil, started as a little kid too, just like we all did. Everybody starts at ground zero. Where you take it, it's up to you.
You took it from a performer level to a writer level, and that's the big difference when you're just playing for the song versus playing for yourself. You know what I mean? If the song only needs a 4 on the floor, that's all it needs.
You're right. And most musicians that have always worked with me, the thing they love about me the most, they say you're a very musical drummer. That's the biggest compliment a drummer could ever have. What they mean by that, that I'm a musical drummer. When I play, I'm playing as I'm a guitar player almost. I'm playing the drums to manufacture the song.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Not play against it, play with it to help
Yep.
it. Play and keep the spirit alive is a perfect example of a great drum track
It's a
that
great song.
complements
Yeah.
that song.
Yeah.
It really does.
Good
You know,
video. The whole thing was great, really, to be honest.
yeah, we kind of hit it out of the park on that record. Stand Tall's a really cool record and magical time for the band. And like you asked me earlier about the Pinnacle thing. Well, I think Stand Tall was close to one of our highlighted times that made us magic. You know what I mean? Like made magic for us on MTV in America. And it just,
Yeah.
1987 was a big year for us. And, you know, that record got us our $1 million deal with Epic, and all the good shit followed. The Iron Maiden tours and all that followed Stand Tall. You know, we toured with Michael Schenker and Dio, and,
Wow.
you know, I can't even remember all the bands we toured with. I mean, a lot of it's in my book, and my book, we're going to talk about
Yeah,
that.
well, we talk about that book.
There's a book? What? There's more?
Yes, there's an actual book. Why am I? You can just read the book. I don't need to do an interview. You just read it.
Do you have the book handy? Maybe we can see what the cover looks like.
Oh, okay. Well, here it is.
Oh,
And what a great shot, too. That's a great shot.
it is
Yeah,
a cool
shot by Igor, one of the key photographers on the Monsters of Rock cruise. He's Igor is an amazing photographer. He shot that and allowed me to use it as the cover. And Thunderfoot: Chronicles of a Rock and Roll Pirate, Volume 1. That's my new book. It's out now. It came out in October. You can get it at Amazon worldwide, or you can get it at dunkspirateshop.com, autographed and personalized with free shipping right now.
Wow.
In time for Christmas.
Well, and we'll definitely give
Cheers,
that.
guys. Cheers.
Yeah, we'll definitely give that a plug. So, and I read 4 or 5 different reviews from different people, and they 2 of them said the same thing, and you kind of alluded to it because you know, as you said, it's going to be volumes. They were like, it's like 150 pages, and they're like, they wanted it to be more, but there's going to be more.
There is, and I have this joke, but I'm not joking. I'm actually really serious. I write books for people that don't like to read.
Yep.
Or don't have time to read. And I'll tell you what I mean by that. Let's start with this book. It's 154 pages. Number 1, I'll open it up. Can you see the font?
Yep.
Font size is just a slight bit larger. I call it geezer font, so you can read. So I got the geezer font, which is awesome.
We not need these.
It's short, action-packed chapters. Like, you can't put it down. When you're reading it, you're reading one chapter and you're on the can. You're gonna get off the can and read the rest. You're gonna read it all. You're gonna read it all, man. And so that's number 2, short, action-packed chapters. And number 3, I have pictures.
Oh, I was gonna say there must be pictures
at the end of every chapter. There's pictures at the end of every chapter. Those 3 components make for a killer read for someone that does not want to get involved in 400 pages and they're going to be reading it for 6 months.
Yeah.
So there is a bit of method to my madness.
Sure.
But this is not your first book either. You had another book before this, right?
I do. I have that here too. This book is a whole different thing. This is called Guardian of a Timekeeper. Now, how I got into being in the book business to begin with, this was about 4 years ago now I started writing this book, and my dad passed away.
I'm sorry.
And he was 93 years old. He had a great life, okay? No sadness here. This guy lived. He was a pilot in the war, in World War II, a jazz piano player, like amazing piano player, could read charts, could play anything. And he was just a great dad for me. We were very close. He got me in the business. He gave me my first drum lessons, jazz drum lessons, when I was like 7 years old. A guy named Doug Dwayne taught me. And I loved him dearly, and I dedicated the book to him. And there's his picture on the back.
Nice.
Awesome.
And this book, the fans were expecting this book.
Right.
And they didn't get it. They got a book about death. This is the faces of death, dude. This book is 10 chapters of my near-death experiences.
Oh.
and it's a killer ride. It's there's some humor in it, but my dad saved my life twice, and from drowning, and that's when I started writing this book. I didn't write it as a book. I wrote it as memoirs, and it was a grieving process. That's all I was doing. It wasn't a book at all. It was just me. They were memoirs of my dad. That's how I got through it. I was
Nice.
grieving. I just started jotting down my life, but with my dad. I started jotting it down, going through when he saved my life and what a great guy he was. And God, next thing you know, I started reading the stuff to my own mother and my wife, and they're going, "This is like insane. This stories. These are not like memories. This is a book." They were the one that kind of got me thinking I might have a book on my hands, a short book, but I thought I might have a book on my hands. So I kept writing, and then I started incorporating real death experiences from two car accidents, one with the Killer Dwarfs I was in, and I started sitting back going, how am I not dead? This is kind of frightening. I was kind of freaked out after I had it on paper, looking at all these near death experiences I've had, right? So then it started turning a little spiritual and a little bit trippy, and Guardian of a Timekeeper was born. And
Wow.
I went to a book company in Montreal and discussed it with them. And I said, I don't know if I'm an author or not. I'm not sure. This is my first book. I don't know if I'm capable of it or if I'm any good. I don't know. They took the book and they were just amazed by it. And I started working with an editor, and the editor told me this could be a movie and
Oh,
all
wow.
this. And I go, oh, I'm not jumping the gun into anything like that. But she goes, no, I'm just telling you what you have here is almost like Final Destination type movie. You could,
Wow.
if a producer saw this book or read this book, they may be able to incorporate that into some good stuff on film. And I of course I never went there. I just told her, okay, you're blowing smoke up my ass. I don't want to do that. But she's a great editor. Her name's Sharon Lax. She's worked on both my books. I love her. She's a university professor in Chicago, and she's a great lady. And she edits my book, but she doesn't mess with my writing. That's
Right
what I
on.
love about her. She just helps me with the punctuation and all that because I took 4 years of English in high school. I'm not a university grad when it comes to punctuation and stuff. And when you write a book, it's like, wow, it's a learning experience, boys. I wish I didn't write any books.
Well, and I mean, a question that I had as you're talking about the book, like, did you do it all on your own? Did you have any help? Like, was there, I don't want to say a ghostwriter, but did you have somebody you were
Yeah.
bouncing ideas off of, or did you just sit down and just kind of get all the pieces together and put it together yourself?
No, it's all me, man. And
Yeah.
and that's and that's what the fans that have read the book so far love the most about it because they go, we know that's you. That's
Yeah.
how you talk. That's you. And that's why the editor is so important because the editor is not a ghostwriter. An editor takes your book and goes through it with a fine tooth comb over a period of months and gives you options to switch things. So
Okay.
she will come back. It's kind of a tedious procedure. I'm pretty good actually writing, but she comes back with a script and it's all pinpointed out each line, and she'll leave my line and then she'll give me an alternative line. So you can see how this takes time.
Right.
And she'll say, I'm not telling you that your grammar's terrible here because it's you got to keep some of your slang and some of your lingo to keep it rock and roll.
Yeah. Yeah.
But she said, I would word it this way, but it's your call. That's how
That's
she
cool.
works with me.
That's
And
cool.
I look at it and I go, I like your way. And all as it is, it's not changing my writing at all. It's just maybe switching a word or two to make it sound a little bit more on the money. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And she's really good at that. So
Well,
I
I'm
love
sure
her
they
for
know
that.
their market and their demographic, but I mean, to be honest, for me to read your book, I would like to have as much authenticity as I could. Now, you want to have it maybe flavor different so you could hit not just a Canadian metal market. You want to be able to go around the world and to any audience, I
Yeah.
suppose. But I mean, this is, I think, why like you've had any success with it before, just like the Killer Dwarfs did. I think that was really your personalities. This is really who you were. This is
Yeah.
really who you're. Wow, you're writing, and it's believable, right?
You're 100% right. And that's what's magic about my books. And I know it is because the people I chose to work with me, mainly Sharon, because she's the only one that touches the book, just one person other than
Nice.
me. And she knows that uh, there's no changing. She can't really, she doesn't change anything. She just helps me with punctuation. So there's no run-on sentences, if I will. You know what I mean? So I get long-winded, like we're chatting now, and it gets long-winded, right? She'll chop it up so it's not so like, holy crap, that's a long sentence. You need to, and that's it. But it's all my words. She doesn't change one word, even swearing and everything. I talk about drugs and women and all kinds of stuff in this new book, and some of it's kind of racy, right? And she just left it. She said, that's what happened. You're not going to fabricate what happened. Tell the true story. That's what people want to hear, whether it's a little bit racy or not. They want to hear it. So that's what Thunderfoot's about. It's really authentic.
And I think that's interesting because I mean, I remember reading Ozzy Osbourne's autobiography, and the whole time I'm reading it, I can actually I'm reading the words and I'm hearing his voice. You know what I mean? And it's
great.
It's I think that's what you want with a book, right? You're trying to visualize what's going on. He's telling the story and you can hear his voice, and it's really cool, right?
Yeah. That's what keeps you reading it, right?
Correct.
There.
Correct. And and it's you don't want to get in the weeds on boring stuff. You want it to be, there's got to be ups and downs, but again, what I was reading on your book, and I am going to get it, by the way, but the reviewers were just like, we want more. We can't wait for the next one.
I was happy about that. The reviews so far. I mean, I'm not creating the reviews. Okay. They could say, I don't like the book for whatever reason. I mean, you know what I mean? It's not like I paid someone to do a review. They're real. I don't know those people. Like I might've met them on the road one time, but they're not friends of mine.
Right.
That wrote reviews, if you know what I mean. So they're authentic reviews on Amazon. That's all. I don't know who those people are. They're Americans or from all over the world, right? I don't know.
So your time frame covered here is 80, early 80s to 89 or 80.
It actually slips into the late 70s because Sphinx is in it too,
Okay.
the high school band. So it actually runs 76, 77 to 89. This one, 154 pages.
Brother, you still got a lot more to write then.
Oh, I know, a ton more. That's what I mean. It'll probably be 600 pages for all of them. Yeah, it might be 700. That's what I'm saying, right? I started out kind of slow. The 154 pages on this first volume, it'll go up from there, right? Like the next volume will be maybe 250, and then the third, if it's going to be the last one, that might be 300, 400. I don't know, because I don't know where it's going to end, boys. That's the whole thing. It might take me 4 years or 5 years to actually write the last volume. That's what's kind of cool. Second volume, I have it all. I have it all. The second volume will bring us up to what's my plan? I mean, I've started writing, but it'll be end Dirty Weapons album, and then the member change from Mike to Jerry. There's a lot of information there. And then there'll be Method of the Madness record, and then the grunge era, and then kind of the rise and fall of the Killer Dwarfs for a while. We go on a hiatus. Then I joined this California band called Laidlaw, and Nikki Sixx was my boss, and I toured with Motley for 2 years, and ZZ Top and Skinner and all that. That's all going to be in the second book. All that. It's going to be really cool. Really on 10, that book. I'm looking forward to it. And, I'm just collecting my thoughts on that right now. I plan on finishing writing it by maybe February, March, and put it out in September, work on with the editor for 3 months, and then put it out.
Well, let's do our second break. If that's okay, we'll do our second break. We'll come back. We'll finish out this whole interview, and we really appreciate you coming on, Darrell. My God, this has been a lot of fun. And again, and Sean and I were really excited because I mean, I always think back to Hook It Off School and getting that album. I'm so proud of that album. But I mean, you're a great man, and I want to hear, and I'm sure our audience wants to hear. So that brings us up from '89. What happened after that? What's going on next? And where can they see you live? That's as much as
yeah. That's great. We'll get into all that, and I'll give away as much as I can to you guys about our plans for the future and what we're going to do right now. And I heard about your show, by the way, so kudos to you guys. I mean, way before you contacted me, or your buddy there contacted me.
Carl?
Who was the guy? Yeah, he contacted, nice guy. He told me about your show, but I already knew about your show.
Oh,
I'd heard about the show, and I go, I like the name, the Barstools and Bands. I like the name of it when I heard it and all that. So I was already, my ear to the ground was on your show already. So it wasn't, he didn't have to, Yeah, he didn't have to talk me into doing the show. He just said, "Would you like to do it?" And I go, "I know about the show. I'd love to do it. It's good timing because I'm promoting my book right now, so it's perfect."
Hey, and if we
One
can
of your
help with
former
that,
members is a big contributor. We see him on there all the time. Ron Mayer's on there all the time. We see him. So hey, let's do
Rombo,
this.
I know. I know, that's great. I know I don't talk to Rombo a lot, but he reached out to me about a month ago and I hadn't heard from him in a long time. We had a little chat and it was cool, you know, it was like cordial. It's all good. We're not enemies or nothing. It's just he has his own life now and didn't want to tour anymore. He owns a garage station and all that, and he's busy with that. And there's no more to it with Rombo. He just didn't want to tour anymore. He didn't. When we came back on one of our legs, we offered it to him in 2013, and he said no. So we said okay. So then I got my buddy in the band. That's how we got to the lineup now.
All right.
Ron turned it down. I gave him the offer. He turned it down.
And again, you can still be friends. That's cool. All right, let's do our break, and then we'll come back and we'll hear about what's next for the Killer Dwarfs.
Okay.
So after this.
Barstools